Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, RJ Carbone. You are listening to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, MMA on occasion. Let's get to it.
Anthony for three. That one goes down, and the game is tied.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
The Yankees are champions of baseball.
Shaking and baking right here on the neophyte.
U.S. trying to close the show. She was doing a great job of feeding that. It's over.
Don't you regret not coming to the net? Don't you regret not coming to the net?
Game over. World Series over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
Okay. Welcome to the show, episode 722 of the podcast. Welcome to the podcast, everybody. I'm your host, RJ Carbone. Yeah, that was a game. That was a game that the Yankees absolutely needed to take. If they lost that game, I'm not going to lie, I'm preparing notes for the season ender. But they figured it out. They figured out a way. Man, thank God that didn't go to extras. I just, oh my gosh. I wouldn't have been able to handle it. I wouldn't have had confidence. I mean, I'm already, more pessimistic than I should be to begin with. But, I don't think the Yankees were great in extras this year. Might get better towards the end. But I was so happy that the Stanton hit. The eighth inning, we will talk about it all. Wow, was that nice to get that win. I was actually listening to the first few innings on the fan. I was at work still, so I couldn't watch it until I got home, but I was listening to Sterling. It was nice to hear Sterling's voice again. I listened to the first few innings, and he was doing the game. He sounded great. It was awesome to hear him back in the booth with Waldman, and so that was nice. But then I got home, and unfortunately, I had to turn on the TBS telecast, which just continues to be very fucking brutal. We talked about after Game 2 on Monday how it was weird because they were lowering crowd noise, and that's a little different, and that's not really giving you the full playoff atmosphere and experience from your home. But it's just the broadcast itself has just been very underwhelming. Just very Costas just with unenthusiastic calls, man. These are calls that you should be going wild with, and I like Costas, man. I really like the guy. I'm a big fan of him. He seems like a really nice guy, and he's been great. He's had a Hall of Fame career, but I don't know, man. The last couple, he did it in 2022 as well. He's not the same. It's not hitting. I don't know if he's anti-Yankee. A lot of Yankees fans think he is. Of course they do. But it's just been bad. Very unenthusiastic calls. He called the Volpe catch a base hit to center field late in the game. I mean, that's something you cannot screw up. He screws that up, and just the whole, it's like we're watching a George Brett documentary. The production team has been awful. It's George Brett, either his story or the camera's going to pan to him every other inning, and they have a 2-minute segment on him or a 5-minute segment on him. I thought Susan Waldman actually joked on it pretty well. Saying that they show him more than they do Taylor Swift in Kansas City. But yeah, the production team has just been shit. The Juan Soto sac fly, the camera angle made it seem like that was a gapper. I thought that was a double. I was just getting home as I saw that happen. I'm like, whoa, the camera's showing like right center field. And then they pan last second. It's like, it's almost like they're doing it on purpose. The Stanton play, Stanton picks up the RBI double in the beginning of the game, and they show him jogging into second. It's like they want to put more emphasis on the whole stack. We get it. The guy can't run. But meanwhile, we have no idea if Soto scores. He ended up scoring pretty easily because of the wild throw. But, man, the TBS broadcast just sucks. On a good note, the Yankees don't suck. They pick up another win, a 3-2 victory over the Kansas City Royals in Game 3 of the American League Division Series yesterday. And this was it was a good game for the Yankees on the pitching end. But at the end of the day, I don't care, man. Just win. Even if their bats have been quiet, which we'll talk about, just win. Al Davis, just win. The righty Schmidt going up against the righty Lugo. Top 4, Stanton picks up the RBI double. Top 5, Soto sac fly. Bottom 5, Volpe botches a ground ball base hit to him. Isabel hits an RBI double off of it after that. And that was followed by the Massey RBI triple to tie the game. Top of the 8th, that's when Stanton hits the big home run, and the Yankees eventually win 3-2. So the bats give you 3 total runs, 4 hits, 2 extra base hits, 9 walks, 5 strikeouts, a sac fly, a sac bunt, and they were 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. On the mound for the Yankees, their pitching combined for 9 innings, 2 runs, 5 strikeouts. It was Schmidt to start, and then the Yankees went Holmes, Canely, Weaver after that. Which, I guess we could start there because this bullpen, the bullpen for the Yankees all series long has been excellent. Absolutely excellent. You combine the 3 games, they've combined to go 13 2/3 innings. They've allowed 1 run, an inherited run, no earned runs, 4 walks, 12 strikeouts, and 8 hits allowed. I mean, from top to bottom, every one of those guys has looked good. Hamilton has looked fine. Tim Hill, when he's been used, he's doing what he's supposed to do. I know he had the, run allowed, but that was more Volpe in Game 1. Canely, he's looked good. Changeup heavy. He's even flashing the fastball a little bit. I know he looked shaky in his first outing, but he's been very good overall. Clay Holmes has been a crucial piece to this bullpen in the playoffs. Probably their best arm along Weaver. Like, this guy is somebody who Yankees fans were just constantly hammering. Just get him off closer, get him off a team, DFA, trade, whatever. And he's come in here and he's been, ever since being demoted after the Grand Slam in Texas, he's been very sharp. And he's found confidence in his sinker again. He's throwing it more. He's not just overusing the slider, but he's going back to the sinker and he's getting ground ball outs with it. So good for Clay Holmes, who had another good appearance last night. Boone is pushing the right buttons with the bullpen too, so far, I must say. That was one of my bigger concerns entering the playoffs, was that I like the bullpen, but what I don't like is Boone's decision-making. I have to say, between the rotation and the bullpen, I thought he's been doing well. And that Weaver decision last night was probably his most controversial one yet. I had no issue with it at the time. I was actually on the train of, let's ride with Weaver. And I think what the Yankees' plan was to just, it was to bring back Canely for the lefty, but then once Witt came up, it's go to your best versus their best. That was their heart of the order. So let's go to Luke Weaver, who's been our best relief pitcher all year, against the best part of the Royal lineup. So I can't argue with that. I know some people, and I get the logic of Canely was rolling, let him keep going. But I'm fine with Canely just giving us a few outs and then letting your multiple inning closer, which that's what he's been, no matter how they want to label it, do his thing. And I know Weaver wasn't even on his game. He was a little shaky. Like, he gave up some hard contact in his first inning of work. And then, the fastballs were a little bit shaky in the ninth inning there. But he got the job done once again at the end of the day. And this kid just continues to win the hearts of Yankees fans. Listen, this is a guy who, I am not to, pat myself on the back. I have some good opinions here and there. I like to think I'm right a good amount of the time about some of the things I talk about. I am. But the Luke Weaver signing back in spring training could go down as one of my worst takes. I was totally against it. Ever since, the guy, even when he was with the team last year, who is this random bum, this skinny white dude? What do they see in him? And back in the offseason when Josh Hader signed that big deal with Houston, who, ironically, Josh Hader was the one to knock them out of the postseason this year. And Luke Weaver's getting big saves to advance, to pick up wins for the Yankees in the division series. So that's one of my worst takes, to hammer the Weaver deal like I did and just be totally against it. Sorry, Cashman. I will give you that win because I've been totally off about this dude, and I see it. The dude dots 97, and he's got a filthy changeup with excellent movement down and away to lefties. So it's worked for the Yankees. He's got the energy. He's going off the mound. He's funny in his post-game interviews. Another good comment last night. Just the guy's awesome, and he's very easy to root for. So I will admit that loss on my end. I was wrong about Luke Weaver. Cashman was 1,000% correct. We're going to head to break. When we return from break, I want to talk about Clark Schmidt because I thought he was fine last night. Let's talk about it. Be right back.
Hey there. Thanks for listening in so far. If you enjoy this episode, please give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks so much. You can follow us on social media as well. On Instagram, we're at BD4Pod and at Rob J. Carbone. On X, we're at BD4Pod and at RJCBD4. And on Facebook, we're BD4.
Okay, welcome back to the show. Episode 722, the Yanks win Game 3 behind Stanton. But I do want to shout out Clark Schmidt because I thought while Clark Schmidt wasn't outstanding, he was okay. He was the best of the 3 Yankee starts. He gave the best of the 3 Yankee starts. His final line, 4 2/3, 2 runs, 4 hits, a walk, 4 strikeouts, no home runs allowed, 71 pitches, and he took the no decision. So not terrible, not great. It was his first playoff start, also being on the road. You live with it. He basically was very close to having this outing be 5 innings, no runs, right? Bottom of the first inning, he goes 1-2-3, gets a couple groundouts. Bottom 2, he does issue the 1-out double to Yuli when he hangs a curveball to him, but he escaped by striking out Melendez swinging. He goes 5 cutters to 2 curveballs, and then he gets Garcia to ground out on a curveball low and away. Bottom 3, he hits Kyle Isbell with a pitch, but then he gets Massey to ground into an inning-ending double play when he gives him a sinker. And then bottom 4, the Yanks give Clark Schmidt a run. They're up 1-0. He strikes out Witt swinging, going sweeper, cutter, sweeper, cutter, sweeper, all the way. Everything was low and away to Witt. So he got him striking out swinging. And then he walks past Cantino, but he escapes with a couple of flyouts from Salvi and Yuli. And then bottom 5, with the Yankees up 2-0, You could tell, I think, the Royals adjusted to his cutter because they were seeing it a lot. He gets 2 quick outs on 5 pitches to the first 2 batters, but then Adam Frazier comes to the plate and he picks up that infield base hit off a cutter middle. That's when Volpe can't make the play. Not the easiest play, but a play you were hoping he would make as an elite shortstop, apparently. Blake comes out to visit, and then, Clark Schmidt gives up the RBI base hit to left field on a cutter up and out. I thought that ball was going to be foul. It looked like it was going foul. I guess the wind carried it, but it hits the wall. It's 2-1 Yankees now, and then that's when Massey takes the plate again, and he rips the RBI triple to right field. This was a cutter that caught just way too much plate. It was a little up in the zone. Soto dives to the ball, completely misses it, goes behind him. Judge backs him up, but, it's 2-2, tie ball game by then, and then Clark Schmidt's pulled for Clay Holmes. So I thought, at the end there, kind of spoiled this final line, but it was a fine start. I thought his cut fastball was really effective. He threw it 37 times. That's 52% of the time. He was very heavy with it early. It had some extra velo to it. Got the swing and miss. Got some soft contact. And before the 3 consecutive hits off the cutter in the 5th inning, Kansas City bats were 0 for 6 in 4 innings on it. So it was good. He was clipping the edges all night. For again, a Clark Schmidt bad start this year has been this. He doesn't have the Luis Gil upside. He doesn't throw 98, but he's got the higher floor. Whereas Luis Gil, his floor is potentially a real bad disaster, where he's going to walk the bases loaded and then, he'll mislocate a pitch and then boom. So I think that's why Clark Schmidt got this start. It was just the safer option. And you saw the results last night. That's what they got what they wanted. In his worst, Clark Schmidt is still keeping you in the ball game. So good job by Clark last night. Fine job. I wouldn't call it great at all, but I would say it was fine. Again, better than Cole, better than Rodon. More than fine was a man by the name of Giancarlo Stanton. And this guy just continues to rake. His final line in this game, he's 3 for 4, double, home run, 2 RBIs, and a stolen base, using his speed that we all know. Completely catching Salvi Perez and I forget who was on the mound at that point, if it was Bubic or whoever. Completely catching them off guard, taking that base. Smart by the Yankees. Although if he was caught, we would be singing a different tune. And he continues to just produce, man. This series, he's 4 for 13. That's a 308 average in a small sample, 972 OPS, but he's got 2 extra base hits now, 3 RBIs, and a walk. He's producing runs. And, we all know it at this point. The narrative's gotten louder. Playoff Stanton's real. Playoff Stanton, in his first 30 playoff games now, he's batting .266 with a 964 OPS, 12 home runs, 27 RBIs, and 12 walks. He's been really good. He's been very powerful. He's now second all-time behind Ruth for home runs per at-bat in the playoffs with a minimum of 100 at-bats. I'm sure everybody saw that graphic last night. It was going viral. But this is why I stick with Stanton through the bullshit. This is his calling card. Whenever he struggles in the regular season and he has these 2-week stretches where he's swinging at garbage sliders, low and away, or he has these injuries that take him out of the lineup for over a month, I live with it because I constantly think in the back of my mind, oh yeah, he's here for the games that matter. The playoffs is where Stanton shines. And that's all I care about at the end of the day. I like the regular season. I have no problem with the 162. It's fun. But the very second we go from September 30th to October 1st, or is there 31 days in September? I don't fucking know. The very second the calendar flips to October 1, I don't care about your regular season anymore. And that's why I stick with Giancarlo. That's why I'm such a loud, arrogant Giancarlo fan, is because he's done enough in the playoffs time and time again to where I am fine with the bullshit because I only care about the biggest games. And this guy is clutch. He is as clutch as they come. And you cannot sit there and be a little nerd who's never played baseball in their lives and tell me clutch is not real and see what Stanton's been doing since he's become a Yankee. That's clutch. You can't always measure it. Not everybody has that. But some guys do step up when the biggest stage arrives. Some guys just have that ice in their veins. Some guys aren't bothered by that, and they're able to keep doing their thing that they always do in the postseason. And that's Stanton. He just has it. He just has that it factor. And I'm a big fan of it, man. This guy just hits. You know, in there's this odd desperate go-to narrative that like his postseason numbers were skewed from 2020 when he went off, which was never true. Because in the 2018 wildcard game versus Oakland, he got on base twice. He homered and walked. 2019 in the LCS versus Houston, you know, game one right away, 2 for 4 with a homer. He had an 850 OPS that postseason. 2020, he goes on a tear versus the Indians, goes on a tear versus the Rays. But it didn't end there. 2021, the wild card game versus Boston, he goes 3 for 4 with a bomb. And yeah, 2022, he did struggle a little bit in the playoffs. Everybody did. But he led the team with 7 RBIs in 9 games. He had 4 extra base hits in that series, in that postseason. This guy does it. You don't get to a 964 OPS with one playoff. You get to it by consistently being powerful over a stretch. And Stanton's got a playoff resume now that's had his name in conversations with Ruth. You know, and it was another home run that you look back at the replay and you go, wow, this guy's swing. I don't know how he does it, but he's a really good low ball hitter. He's an excellent low ball hitter. That's one thing that you have to give him credit for. You know, he might swing at those sliders away, but you give him a pitch that's in the zone or just below the zone and it's middle, he's going to hit that out. So he's been excellent in his playoff career. I hope this continues this postseason. And if it does, do you start thinking about putting Giancarlo in the cleanup spot? I don't think they're going to make that change this series. They're going to stick with what they're doing. But let's say Wells continues to struggle because he's been very bad. And let's say Stanton continues to produce runs. Do you swap them at least? Do you put Stanton for, even though you're following a righty with a righty? You know, that's something to think about because he is their run producer at the end of the day. But hey, I was, you know, last episode saying maybe we should put Dominguez DH over Stanton, you know? So it was good that Stanton responded the way he did, and just continues to help the Yankees win games. The Yankees are 70-39 when Giancarlo starts, people, which means they're 24-29 when he doesn't start. They're also scoring 1 more run per game when he's in there. So the numbers say it. They all back it up. The team numbers, the individual numbers, Stanton produces, and he helps his team. I know he's frustrating. I know. But the guy does this again this postseason, and I will not be calling him any names that you hear 90% of Yankees fans call him. I am fine with this guy. I don't think he's the next Ellsbury just because of the injuries and the slumps. No. This guy's fine with me because he produces in the 1 month I really care about. So, Giancarlo, keep doing your thing. And, you know, he's in a lineup that's really struggling to produce offense right now. He's the only one doing it. But I will say the bottom of the order has actually been pretty solid. You know, you look at some of the guys on the bottom there. Anthony Volpe has been looking good. His at-bats have looked excellent. You know, in this game, was at the top of the 5th inning. He's down 0-2 in the count. He spits on 3 straight off speed, gets a cutter in the middle of the zone from Lugo, and he picks up a base hit to center field. Top of the 6th inning versus Schreiber, who's a tough righty. He draws an 8-pitch walk. Top of the 8th inning against Bubic, 0-1 count. He spits on 3 straight pitches below the zone. I think it was off-speed sinker. And then he walks on a fastball way inside. So his at-bats look good. He looks very smart up there. He's putting good swings on the ball. And the results have been solid. He's got a couple hits this series, 4 walks, so a 500 on base in 3 games, a stolen base, a run scored. You know, this is a kid who has just been very underwhelming with the bat. You know, it's somebody who you're used to seeing get beat on a fastball inside and, you know, struggle with the breaking ball away. But he looks really disciplined right now, and he looks like he does when he's on his hot streaks, right? Post chicken parm Volpe last year looked exactly like this. Volpe at the beginning of this season looked exactly like this. So when he's staying inside the strike zone, which has been the big strength of him ever since he was a prospect in the system, that's when he's his best. And it's very much reminding me of younger Gleyber Torres, when he was able to stay inside the zone and keep that right center field approach, middle to right center approach. That's when he was his best. That's when Gleyber was hitting, 270 to 300, right? Volpe, it's a very similar thing. When he's not swinging out of his shoes and the helmet's not flying off after a swing, that's when he's at his best. Just keep your head still. When there's not, the moving parts, there's been a lot of moving parts in his swing this year. But when he's still, it's all about stillness. When he's still, he's productive. So I just need this Volpe to continue to do this. Base hits and walks, and I'm fine with that this playoffs because you're at the bottom of the lineup right now. Cabrera has been getting on base at the bottom of the order, right? He had the double on Saturday, which you argue should have been an RBI double, but Stanton. And then he has 3 walks yesterday. 3. So he's been giving you production. This is a guy who had the home run against Cleveland a couple postseasons ago. I thought Birdie was fine at first base the other day, made some nice plays, but I would like Cabrera to get some time out there regardless of the matchup. I would like to see him. Walker's going to be out there, so he'll definitely be starting tomorrow or tonight. But he's been productive. Alex Verdugo, right? Listen, he had the big Saturday game. I don't think he did much on Monday, but last night, he had the sac bunt, which helped lead to a run. And, the stupid first pitch swing was maddening, but I even think Verdugo's been fine at the plate. I wouldn't mind if Dominguez saw left field next game, but I think the Yankees are just going to ride it safe, which I'm fine with also. But yeah, the bottom of the order, Volpe, Cabrera, Verdugo have been giving you good at-bats. Everyone else, kind of needs to step up. The other guys haven't been getting the job done. The Yankees have 11 runs in 3 games this series. If you take away game 1, they have 5 runs in their last 2 games. So, overall, they are 3 for 25 with runners in scoring position, which is a $120 batting average. That's an abomination. The good things I'm seeing from them is like the quality of their at-bats have been pretty good. There have not been a lot of terrible at-bats. Even in the first couple innings yesterday, I know they were quick innings, but there were some hard hit balls. And the Yankees are working at-bats. They're getting deep in the count, and they're drawing a lot of walks. They're getting on base. Now, you can also, at the same time, attribute that to the Royal game plan. I think a lot of their pitchers know that the Yankees have struggled all year getting the big hit, and their plan of attack has just been let's nibble and let's force the Yankees to get the big hit. I'll live with the walk, and let's just force them to do what they haven't been able to do. And that's going to be one thing that the top of the lineup has to start taking care of. And while the bottom of the order has produced fine, the top of the lineup has not been great. And obviously that starts with the guy we've talked about in every episode this postseason series so far. Aaron Judge, number 99, the captain, the big money guy. He has been, listen, I know he hit some balls hard last night. We're past that. We need some results. He's 1 for 11, and his only hit's an infield base hit. He has 0 RBIs. In the top of the 4th inning last night, he missed an opportunity on a hanging breaking ball from Lugo. Soto's on first base. He gets a sweeper middle, and he flies out to left field. Top of the 5th inning, same thing. He gets a missed opportunity on another meatball from Seth Lugo. There's 2 on base with 2 outs, and he flies out to center field on an 88-mile-an-hour cutter in the middle of the plate. I think top of the 7th, they bring their starter Singer out of the bullpen for a few pitches. Soto's on first base with 2 outs in a tie game. Judge, I think it's an 0-1 fastball at 91 miles an hour up in the zone. He fouls it off. Then he strikes out swinging on that slider low and away. It was definitely a check swing, but he missed the pitch prior, and you just can't leave it up to the ump. So he's missed his pitches a fair amount. People keep saying they're not pitching to him. They're giving him some pitches, and he's missing the shit out of it. At the end of the day, he's got to produce. So he's a big reason the Yankees aren't scoring runs. If Judge just gets a couple more hits this series, a couple extra base hits, the Yankees are averaging like 7 runs a game. That's the difference right there. Your best player's got to be your best player. That's how that works. Torres started well with the good day on Saturday in game 1, but he's not giving you much since. Soto's been okay. He was 3 for 5 to double on Saturday. He walked on Monday over 3. Yesterday he was over 2, a couple walks, an RBI with a sack. But, we need some more from him. We need the power. The power is not showing up yet. He needs to produce power. Him and Judge have a combined 1 RBI. So Soto's got to be Soto. Judge has to be Judge, or else this Yankees team is not going anywhere. Austin Wells has been brutal in the cleanup spot. Brutal. He struck out on 3 pitches 2 times in a row to start yesterday's game. In his 3rd at-bat, he swings at the first pitch in a bad time to do so. He's just been bad. He's been really bad for, a month and a half now. It's got to start improving. Jazz Chisholm's been bad. The comments that he made, whatever. I'm not going to get on him for that. Initially, maybe I didn't like it because I was pissed off they lost. Bulletin board material, all that. But, I'd be hypocritical to say, I hated the comments because I wanted this guy in here because of his personality. Fuck the humble shit. I like guys with a little bit of flair. And, you want to talk shit? I like it. Just, I wish he was hitting, His 2-strike hitting continues to be a tough watch. Usually he's swinging a junk and he's just swinging right through it and missing with 2 strikes. But there was that at-bat last night where he just stares at strike 3 right down the plate. And he's complaining to the home plate umpire about it. He's got to start producing. He's a big part of this lineup. Just driving runs, man. Because none of the 3 Kansas City starters have been dominant. Waka's line was 4 innings, 3 runs. Reagan's goes 4 innings, 1 run. Lugo goes 5 innings, 2 runs. None of them have dominated the Yankees. So in total, their 3 starters have combined 13 innings, 6 runs. The Yankees they're getting on base. They're not getting the big hits. Again, the Royal game plan has been put them on base. Fuck it. Because we're going to dare them to get the big hit. And the Yankees just haven't gotten that yet. So it comes down to your 2 best, right? Aaron Judge has to be Aaron Judge, and tonight we've got Garrett Cole on the mound. So those guys need to have a legacy game. Stanton continues to build his. Those guys need to step it up. So let's see what we have in store for us tonight with with Garrett Cole and Aaron Judge, because they're going to have to advance the Yankees to the next round. It's going to be on them. So with that said, folks, that's all we got in this one. We'll wrap it up with our trivia question in just a moment. Stay with us.
If you're interested in our website, just go to www.bd4blog.com. You can subscribe to our blog on there right on the front page. Just like on the podcast, we cover Yankees, Knicks, and MMA. Also on our website are the links to the different platforms for the podcast. Thanks so much.
Studio 69 Productions is a podcast production agency created by Leo Rodriguez to allow content creators to market their podcast. It's an online platform that will market your podcast or any other project that you're working on. Get in touch with Leo Rodriguez from Studio 69 Productions. You can find Studio 69 Productions on Instagram at Studio69NJ. Studio 69 Productions, where dreams are heard and born.
Thanks for listening to BD4, where there is no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA, Yanks every series, Knicks every game, and MMA on occasion.
All right. So in this episode of BD4, episode 722 of the podcast, our trivia question of the day is: 4 players in Yankees history have multiple playoff games with a home run and a stolen base. Who are the 2 that are still active? Obviously, one of them you know from last night's game, but there's another. 4 players in Yankees history have multiple playoff games with a home run and a stolen base. Who are the 2 that are still active? I believe Bernie Williams is one of them. I don't know who the other one is. Unactive. Maybe Damon. But who are the 2 that are still active? Let me know the answer. Folks, that is it. We're going to wrap this one up. About 40 minutes, a little less than that, in. The Yankees defeat the Royals 3-2 last night. Big hit by Giancarlo Stanton in the 8th inning. Continues to build his playoff resume. So all the angry old men who bash Stanton in meaningless exhibition regular season games don't matter, because we don't think about that in October. So hopefully that continues tonight. And this time, hey, maybe we can score more than 3 runs. Maybe we'll score 4. Thanks, everybody. I don't know. I'm losing my train of thought. I'm just speaking gibberish now. I gotta go. I gotta edit this episode, publish it, drop it on social media, and then I gotta go to work. So I appreciate you all tuning in. As always, thank you for listening, and I'll see you after Game 4, where the Yankees hopefully advance to the LCS to play the Tigers. Maybe later. This episode was brought to you by Anchor.
Hey there! If you stayed the entire way through, we thank you immensely for it. We hope you enjoyed this podcast and that you come back for the next episode real soon. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, download these episodes, and share them with your friends as well. BD4 is a 5-star podcast simply because of you, and we'd like to keep it that way. Have a wonderful day. Go Yankees, and go Knicks!